of this different context. So I think the fact that this was we're solving a problem for Mombasa in Mombasa with young people in Mombasa also made a significant difference. Also for phase 2, one of the lessons we learned was working with the local partners. So leveraging local partnerships to be able to scale and work within the networks. For example, Swahili Port mentioned actively involved as a partner, but then you can see them in phase 2 where we gave more of an active role to the organizations at the grassroots level to be able to take ownership and just be able to really support this innovative in terms of networking support, because they understand the local networks and they're able to support the innovators in terms of leveraging the local partnerships and being able to be able to scale. Another lesson that we've also been able to learn, it's important to focus on policy, just making sure that also the policies that are being put in place. So I know we spoke a lot about, I had the government a lot, so just being able to, as a young people, we also need to bring the right people on the table and make sure that we're having the right conversations. So then we can be able to move from just having conversations to actually being able to make progress and make tangible changes. So policies definitely need to be favorable and need to provide young people with the right opportunities to be able to scale at well. And one lesson I would also say is we've not leveraged a lot of technology per se for this particular program, but I do see it as one of the biggest opportunities for scale, because then you can be able to go beyond geography and physical barriers to be able to train multiple young people at scale. So I definitely see the opportunity to explore technology. We have a lot of new emerging technologies. AI is coming up. So how do we leverage also some of these opportunities to scale? So as you said, instead of training 9 businesses, how do we train 500 businesses in 2 years or 3 years? So those are some of the opportunities I would say I actually see. But again, I will emphasize the foundation starts with empowering the youths and also working with what they're passionate about. Because for Mombasa Plastic Prize, the foundation of the innovators and the teams, and even you can imagine out of 14 businesses being able to get 9 teams into an incubator program. And we're also seeking for more opportunities to see how we will support even the 9 teams beyond the incubator phase, even with the right partnerships. But by the end of the day, it goes back to setting the right foundation, which for me is being able to understand what young people and young innovators are really passionate about. And I would say, I speak as a designer now, so you design for them and you design with them and you involve them in the process. That's the most important thing for me.
All right, thank you very much. So we're trying to wrap up really quite fast. So Diana, I'll be coming to you in a few, but the question to you as you try to put your thoughts together will be, if we need Kapapo solutions to generate, let's say, 100 jobs by December next year, right? And for each of the 100 jobs, each person is earning at least above the minimum wage. That is not less than 17,000 Kenyan shillings per month, right? So I'd like to know how much money do you need for that, right? Because looking, if we can be able to support, say, 1,000 Dianas, Kapapo solutions, right? Then that would sort of like be able to create a larger impact, right? You talked about policy. So let me go straight to Lily. I know WWF has been very key with some policy documents. The most recent one, it's extended producer responsibility, right? So if in a few words, tell them what the extended producer responsibility is about and how that policy can be leveraged to generate green jobs at scale in plastic value chain.
Okay, thank you so much for the question. So the extended producer regulation is about extending the responsibility of consumer waste to the manufacturers. That is, if I am, maybe let's take an example of Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola is responsible for the plastic bottles that you are seeing over here, to ensure that these bottles are taken back to either recycling or reuse, so they're not left in the environment. So it is just closing the loop. So extended producer responsibility, I see it as a very instrumental tool that will transition Kenya into a circular economy. So with the regulations in place, I feel it is so essential to really integrate it into, especially the people that are working within the waste value chain, make them understand what it really is, and it will be easier for them to identify the opportunities that are coming with the regulation. Because if the producer is given the responsibility to ensure that the waste that they're producing is going back to them or it is being recycled, it means that they're putting money into it. And there's a lot of investment that is going to go into the extended producer responsibility scheme. So it is essential for us to educate people on the policy itself. And during our implementation of the extended producer responsibility project, we've noticed that most people who are the actual actors within the waste value chain are not aware of these things. So building capacity on them on which are some of the benefits that come along with the policies and the regulations that are in place, and making them understand and easily identify the opportunities that they bring on board, it will make it easier for them to either self-employ or to get jobs out of these policies and regulations that are coming.
All right, thank you very much. So Diana, that question, because once you answer it, I wanna now take it to Alice because she talked about money. Yeah, so we'd be interested to know, some talk around money. Just Diana.
Thank you so much, Arafat. So for Kapapa Solutions to be actually scalable and employ and give out more green jobs out there, we need to leverage on technology and also infrastructure. By technology, I mean machinery and all other aspects that is needed for production. And infrastructure is probably transportation, the tuk-tuks, all kinds of infrastructure which will be needed for waste collection and all that in the value chain. Also for our products, we need to actually foster market acceptability for our products. It's hard to convince someone that do not use this chair, use our chair, because our chair is protecting Mother Nature. Our chair has like 1,000 kgs of plastics there. So we need also that market demand and also behavioral change from the markets to actually accept our products, and fostering market acceptability will actually increase our sales and also allow us to have that kind of money to give out those jobs. And yes, so to give it a figure or something close to 2.5 million, that will enable us to give out more green jobs out there. So.
All right, interesting. So she needs 2.5 million. I'm pretty sure like there's someone here that can actually write a check of 2 million. David from Sotehub. You can write them a check of 2 million and we unlock those jobs here, right? Okay, so Alice, she needs 2.5 million, right? To generate those 100 jobs, right? But now, what are some of the business models, right? Because you talked about money. What are some of the business models that businesses like hers can adopt to ensure that they generate green jobs in the plastic value chain at scale?
Thank you, Arafat. And I just want to, again, take a note, if I can. When I just met Arafat, he was not asking these questions. This is just fantastic. I love question about scale, about business models, financing.
Thanks, Alice.
I'm so proud.
Thanks, Alice.
I'm so proud. Well done. This is awesome. Okay. Back to the question. I think to some extent Daisy answered some of those in her slide, and I talked about Plastica Rafiki. We really want to think about a diversity of business models. And maybe just going back for a moment to the scale question and what we can practically do here in Mombasa. I think one basic thing, it's kind of what everyone has said. It's not just going to be one thing. It's not only going to be, your suggestion with the 2.5 million, or some of the things that you're doing in Makweni with the government funds and working with the, the policy side and the producers and the entrepreneurs and the young people leading. It's actually all of it, right? So to get to the, I don't know, it won't be the full 370,000, right? It'll be that number is going to be addressed with a variety of different sectors. And yesterday I was just with the national government, we're launching these sector skilling committees that are evaluating these value chains at a national and county level. And so it's very similar to what you're saying. We have to think about what are all of the different solutions in green jobs. And then there's going to be others in construction and other things. But just within green jobs, if, let's say, we as a community, led by young people, can say over the next 5 years, we can create 50,000 jobs related to the green economy. Some are entrepreneurship in these areas, some are going to be aggregated and sent to your kind of aggregation facilities, right, that you have here. Some is going to require, policy changes. So how do we have, number one, this common vision for Mombasa? What is that over the next 5 years related to green jobs? And then what are the different pieces to get there? There's not only one kind of financing. This is what I was talking about. And this panel is demonstrating that there's many different kinds of things to do. So how do we come up with a very clear strategy? We need to do these 5 things over the next 5 years to get to 50,000 jobs. I've thrown out a lot of 5s, so memorable. And there's going to be very clear, there's actually a lot of money out there. I know it sounds crazy, but there's a lot of money out there. And if you put together good proposals, I will say 2.5 million for 100 jobs is a little expensive. So maybe think about that. But you want to really think about how much is it going to cost per job? What is ecosystem building and the cost of that? Incentive structures for corporates. And so over 5 years, 50,000 jobs, we're going to reduce plastic waste in Mombasa by half. We're going to reduce organic and textile waste by half, something like this. We start to get very clear targets, and we have, these 5 pillars, these 5 pathways, and we say, okay, this one is going to cost this many million, and we make a proposal around it. And if it's well structured and clear, with how many jobs created, how much waste we're going to address, and some kind of tracking mechanism, there's money out there to support it. And if we can act on that all together, because it's a suite of solutions, again, always led by young people, I think we can get there.
All right, thank you very much. Now, the last question will be going to Tendai, and that is based off your background in government. You mentioned that you are once the Minister of Environment and Solid Waste Management, right? So anyway, as I was coming home in Namatatu, there's kind of like plastic on the streets and stuff like that, right? So the question is, right, how much does it cost to keep Mombasa clean? Right, based off your experience. So let's go back a couple years back, right? Like how much, maybe Alice can tell us where we can actually get that money and we peg it to jobs, right? Yeah, so throw up a figure. How much would it cost? To keep Mombasa clean, how much would it cost?
Well, first of all, I don't even think I can answer that question, because if I do, I'll be lying. And I'll tell you why. And I'm glad that I can look around this room and I can see some people who are involved in the current government, and they'll know what I'm saying is actually true. The county government does not have the ability to collect waste in Mombasa, in every single neighborhood. And I know we may not say it public, we may not have said it then, and it is simply because those who are responsible for generating the waste have not understood that it is their responsibility to actually pay for the waste to be collected. We have an attitude in this country where we believe kazi ya serikali ni kuchukua takataka na kuipeleka Mwakirunge ama Kibarani. And if you ask most people, they'll tell you we pay taxes, so use those taxes to collect the garbage. But the truth of the matter is there's not enough tax money available to run government and collect the amount of waste that we put out. Simply because of this, we are responsible for the waste that we put out because we consume that same amount of waste at an individual level. Now, I'm not saying that government doesn't have a responsibility to actually put in place the necessary infrastructure to do that. But the truth of the matter is, if I give you now the figure, let me use the waste collectors model to show you how much it does actually cost to collect waste per household. On average, I don't know if it's the same now, but it's between 50 and 100 shillings per household that was being charged then by the waste collectors. I would probably say the cost that they incurred was anywhere between 60 to 70% of that 50 shillings. Now, from a profit model, I don't know if they were making any money, but the truth of the matter is that it was such a laborious exercise for them, but it was also problematic for the county. Why? Because we didn't tell them where to take it, and if we told them take it to Kibarani, you're talking about a young man coming all the way from Kisauni, in Beersheba, to cross town, on Mkokoteni, to go across Makupa Causeway to actually dump that garbage, or to go to Mwakirunge. Which is why I said the way the system was designed then, I can see the deputy governor now doing a lot of work to try and make it better, is we were not able to convince ourselves as Mombasa residents that we are actually responsible, and to have that conversation long enough where we take responsibility for it. I happened to work in Kigali, for example, where they talked, Arafat, they spoke to each other, not for 1 year, not for 2 years, not for 3 years. They spoke for almost 6 years until it sunk into the minds of every resident in Kigali that it is your responsibility. And now that we know it's your responsibility, if you don't, we're going to enforce. Now, for me, that's really where we've got to get to. It's not about how much does it cost government to do it, because government with the best will in the world is never going to be able to afford to actually collect the garbage if the responsibility of the individuals is what Mahmoud was talking about earlier on, that you're driving in your nice four-wheel drive car and you think that what you can do is open your window and throw out waste because there's somebody else who's going to. You're the one who bought that Coke bottle. Yeah? You're the one who's responsible for it. Even Coca-Cola, in the best will in the world, as has been said, is now going to have to figure out, okay, where did that Coke bottle get dropped on what road? Where do you even start with that kind of articulation? So foundations, and I think she spoke about foundations. The first foundation that we have, and we were speaking about this with Mahmoud earlier, the first foundation is a social foundation. We can throw the best amount of money at businesses with the best will in the world that is philanthropic, but if we as the residents of Mombasa don't address our own mindsets, we're going to be having this conversation every year, year in, year out, and it's going to affect not only just our land side of the environment, but also our marine side of the environment. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so Odipo, can we just have like at least max of 3 questions from the audience? Come on. Okay, 1.
Thank you very much. As much as we are passionate about what we're doing, these panelists are here, yeah? We'll have lunch, and then we have breakout sessions where you'll have one-on-one sessions with each and every person here. We'll make sure that every panelist here is in a group that you are, so that when you have a burning question, just identify where that panelist is going to sit, go to that group, ask your question there, and you shall be, in fact, you'll get a more comprehensive answer for that with them. But one thing, as we go for lunch, so kindly give our audience a round of applause. Tafadhali. Alafu, before they stand na wapigwe picha, Arafat, good job. Our panelists, good job. There is one thing that you said. I always like to use this term. Plastic waste in Mombasa County is a lifestyle. We have accepted it. We use it. But there are these unethical behaviors that are happening in the ecosystem. That for me as an innovator, if Diana will not speak about it to other people here, then it bothers me. I'll have to address it because I'm addressing stakeholders in the ecosystem. Yeah? We talk about creating more green jobs. Yes, we want to create more green jobs. Alice wants to look for funds everywhere to come and invest in these people. Yes. But let us not, maybe Jacob's Ladder has the financial muscle, yeah, to do things and then change whatever we're doing in the ecosystem. But mind you, you have Diana, who has an idea, a very good idea. Then Diana brings this idea to life. She is struggling to make sure this idea sees the light because it knows the impact that it's going to have. Then you have Jacob's Ladder, who sees this idea. Instead of working on how Mentor used to say, in a collaborative world, since you have the financial muscle and you can really understand her idea, you take out the idea and then publish it, go with it, run with it, because you have the financial muscle to do that. If you talk about IP, whatever, things that lawyers tell us to do, mind you, if you're making a desk, it's just a desk that you will make. Even if I try to I do my research, I find something unique that I can patent my idea with. I still not, if it's plastic, I'm recycling. Even if the process can be different, you can talk about the process in a narrative. But who will come to your warehouse and find out how you're doing your plastic waste? So it's about the behavior and ethical behaviors that we as stakeholders have in the ecosystem that make these ideas die. Maybe Jacob's Ladder didn't have the passion that she has, and she was seeing a larger vision of the impact. But since you have the financial power, you do it, then you leave it on the road. She will die in terms of wanting to continue. Then the vision she had will go down. But now you have taken it up and then you leave it on the hanging. We will be sinking Mombasa as we are still doing. So a matter of behavior, in Rwanda they have a day that they clean, everyone. They segregate waste and clean on that day. So during the week, their space is clean. Then before the weekends, they also have a day. So that cycle continues. We don't have to have policies from the national government to assist us here. There are stakeholders here in government as you are looking at them. I don't know them. I just saw your eyes rolling around involved unit. Watu wa Mombasa wanasikiza sana watu wao. Sema tu leo hii twende tupewe 100, tutajaa. Sema leo hii twende tusafishe, kuna youth watajitolea. Tusimame tupigwe picha and then twende tule. Sawa sawa? Pigeni makofi paneli yetu. Pamba wa direct. Compact. Tuwapigie makofi tena. So, thank you very much, our humble panelists. Nashukuru sana. So, we want to break for lunch. If you look behind there, kuna masahani tayari zishajaa chakula. I will not speak much so that your food gets cold. But afternoon, we have 3 more sessions that are very interesting, but very brief. So I would love for you to eat, and then as innovators set up some of their works. As you finish eating, kindly visit the innovators. We also have a photo exhibition area where there is photos of the journeys of innovators and things that are affecting us in the edition plastic waste management. So kindly go interact with the innovators, have your lunch, and then in exactly 30 minutes time, let us come back here, re-energize a little bit, have the breakout session, and then launch the master plan that is going to assist us in creating more jobs in Mombasa. Otherwise, kuna mtu anaombea chakula? Nataka Muislamu. Jamani. Nani atatuombea chakula? Volunteer. You know, we have one thing in Swahili. Po tukikuja hapa, you automatically become you automatically become because don't ever get tired to serve people. Let us embrace serving people. So tafadhali, nani anatuombea? Nani? Nani? Jamani, audience yangu, asante. So it's a prayer.
Let's bow down our head and pray. Dear God, thank you for this session. I pray as we go and proceed to have our meal, that you may be with us and that you may provide us with nourishment to continue in strength as we proceed with this session. In Jesus' name I pray and believe you've answered our prayer. Amen.
So DJ